Welcome to Storytime, etc. We try to post scary stories every day, so please subscribe and hit the bell button to get notified. Story 1. Something in the Woods. I guess I'll start with a background. I'm a 33-year-old female, but this story takes place when I was a teenager, living in a suburb of Chicago. The village I lived in was quiet and middle class. We lived like a mile from the police station, and the worst crimes we had was a murder or two and robbery, once in a blue moon. 99% of the time? Boring and more boring. Unless you had a car, you were stuck just walking around the park at night with your friends, kinda boring. Anyway, one night, my girlfriend and I decided to go hang out at a park with some guys at like 12 a.m. The night was a bit windy and had a full moon. I even got a kiss that night from the boy I liked. But the night wasn't just fun and hanging out late. There's a deep forest in the park with a stream with a playground right next to it. The same playground we went to, with swings and jungle gym columns. There's two bridges, one of wood, the one everyone uses, and one bridge made of rocks, that's rarely used because it is deeper in the forest, over the stream, connecting the two halves of the forest park area. I'll get to the rock bridge in a minute. We hung around on the swings and chatted and just spent the evening together. I'm sitting and just looking around, talking and enjoying the peace and quiet and the moonlight. I have a full view of the forest and the dip of earth that I know leads to the stream. I see something moving over that dip of earth. Some dark shape. It looked like it was crawling out of the forest. An arm, then another arm. It pulls itself out of the ditch stream. A figure darker than the surrounding forest. And I'm sitting there, frozen. I think I'm seeing things. It just kind of lays there, on the ground, but doesn't move. A flash of fear grips me. What if it comes this way? I look to my friends and no one notices anything. I look back and it's gone. Did it go back or go somewhere? I really want to get out of there. Then one friend asks, "Did you guys hear about the urban legend of the rock bridge over the stream?" Apparently, some kids or something played on the bridge and fell over and died. What a thing to say after what I saw. But I didn't ask anyone anything and just pretended I didn't see anything. But the experience stuck with me. I never talked about it because it must have been my imagination. Things like that happen only in scary movies, right? But I rarely went to that park after that. And Black Thing, if you are real, I hope we never meet again. Who knows what would have happened if you saw me the same time I saw you?
Story 2. True. No one believes. I remember when I was around the age of 4, my family and I lived in a small apartment, on the 4th floor, which was pretty high. The apartment was full of stupid people like drug addicts and other low-life criminals. There were no other kids in the unit, so I mainly spent my time playing with toys. One night, after my mother turned off the lights for bedtime, the whole family went to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night, around 2 a.m. I was pretty thirsty, so I was going to grab a cup of water from the kitchen. But as I was pulling off my blanket, I heard noises. Noises coming from the other side of the house. Being a stupid toddler, I didn't think anything of it, so I got up and walked out of my room. The moon was lighting up the room through the open sliding door to the veranda. But then I came to the terrifying realization that the sliding door was supposed to be closed. I knew this because I was the one who closed it before bed. But at that moment I heard those noises again. And they were coming from the kitchen. I put 2 and 2 together and realized that someone was in the home. I tried tiptoeing to my parents' room, but I looked behind me, and what I saw scared me. It was a man. A man in a costume. He looked at me and grabbed me. He was pulling my hair and putting his hand on my mouth. But I broke out of his grip and ran to my mother's room. I was too scared to say anything. The next morning I told my mother everything, but she told me it was all just a wild nightmare. I tried to tell my dad, but he said the same. Only I know what happened, but no one believes me. I will never forget that sack he wore over his head. And the thing that still bothers me is how did he manage to get to the 4th floor? The door was locked and so were the windows. So did he climb the entire building? And if he did, why me? My true story. Story 3. True, creepy woods. Okay, So I don't really know how to start this story off, but it just happened like an hour ago, and I'm still spooked. So, a bit of a preface. Me and my friend are home alone right now, and have been for a few hours. Every time he comes over, we go to the woods by my house, and it's normally uneventful, with some throwing rocks and breaking trees and stuff, harmless fun. But this time, something else happened. Like I said, we're home alone, and have been for a while, and while this happened, we were obviously home alone. We went outside to go to the woods, and the trip there was uneventful, but once we got there, something was off. Everything was dark, tons of trees had been knocked down, and the entire place was not like I remembered it being. We kept going in, still having our usual harmless fun, and at one point my friend turned to me and said we should go back. I looked at my phone, and decided it had only been 30 minutes, and so we might as well stay longer, cause it'll be a few hours until anyone would want us to be home. We continued on, finding a few strange things, like an old crushed Mountain Dew can, probably 10 to 20 years old, and a toy boat which had been completely destroyed by the wind and water and other things, and was probably even older than the can. Our plan was to go further than I had ever been into the woods, which isn't very hard for us, because I've barely been that deep. After walking for a while, we came to a landmark I knew of that marked about the deepest I've ever been. A while ago, when I was going far in, I came upon a bridge built on a log that fell over a river in the middle of the woods. However, one thing was different, there was something sitting on top of it. Whatever was on it was small, and resembled the head of an animal. When we got closer and got a good view of it, it was a deer skull, pearly white and clean, sitting on the bridge, with no clue as to who put it there, and where the rest of it was. Behind the river there was a huge hill with a creepy small house on it, and while we were looking around, I heard a creak or some other high-pitched noise from up towards it. Freaked out, we began to run, and from behind me I hear my friend scream, and I hear him running behind me. We both keep running, and once we reach the edge of the woods, we step onto the road. I asked him why he screamed, and he said he heard footsteps next to him. We quickly made our way home, and when we got there, the garage door was open. Not knowing if it was left open or not, we ran inside, locking the door, checking the house, and turning the alarm on. Now we're sitting here, and by the time I finish this it's nearly 2 hours since, and I still can't shake the fear of that eerie woods from me, and if you would like more evidence that this happened, ask my friend.
Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and please like and subscribe to help support the channel.